Hello and welcome to another side play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Khemia. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game, then go to Patreon and give them monies. I don't think there's a early access version. Also, where does this music come from? It's so familiar, but I'm not sure if it's from the Adastra universe. I don't know, my mind says like Echo or something. Anyways, on the last Let's Play, we went to bed and had a terrible dream about the amalgamation, basically the afterlife, and spooky stuff. And then when we woke up, we hung out in the gardens and told Nefru about our, PTSD problems. And we had a heart-to-heart, because he's like, yeah, that was a hell of a thing 3 years ago. It's old pain. But now Brutus is here. Hyena. And if anything's the same as the, previous version, the spaceship will be coming ever so soon. So set face. And begin. Yeah, well, I was escorted by a bunch of drones, so you didn't exactly have a choice. Someone's a bit testy this morning. I like Nefru's, ever so snide looking... Snide is the word? But, look right there. Someone's about to explain to me what the hell they did last night. My ears fall flat, and I look away. Not you, Skip. I already know that whatever happened, it's his fault. Nefru smirks in response. If you want details, you'll have to accept my invitations one of these days. I tend to have a looser tongue during pillow talk. Ooh ooh. Don't take this the wrong way, but I'm really damn curious as to why you haven't been kicked in the balls more than once on this moon. Ooh ooh. I mean, teach your own? Ooh. Anyways, that seems to quickly sour Nefru's mood. Because, Brunus, video recording devices are a luxury on Adastra. So you have been? Good. You deserve it. The Wolverine turns to look at me. I still don't think it's your fault, but maybe you can tell me what happened, so we're not all wasting our breath. At this point, Nefru steps in. Someone attempted to attack us, likely from one of the separatist groups. It's under investigation. The immediate situation was taken care of, but Amicus is taking extra precautions to make sure we are unharmed until we depart for Khemia. An attack? What, like they threw crap at you sort of attack, or tried to kill you sort of attack? The latter, but I will tell you the details later. For now, just enjoy the rare opportunity of being able to reside in the grand Adastrian Imperial Palace. What? Brunus seems to take Nefru's hint, and manages to stifle the reaction that would have followed. Well, as long as the two of you are okay. Honestly, this place gives me the creeps. I've only seen footage of this place when Kato tried to murder you. That, and the fact they've only got drones around here. But I'm especially on edge because of all my stuff got spirited away on a bunch of drones to who the hell knows where, and my medicine went with it. I haven't been able to refill for a whole day now. The big Wolverine manipulates the pipe in his mouth, the one that emanates a herbal smell I recognize him for. Before he sucks in it comically hard, his cheeks hollowing out. I clear my throat. Calm? There's a momentary pause, during which Nefru and Brunus look at me, and I wonder if I've made a fool of myself trying to communicate with the Imperial computer while outside. Thankfully, though. Yes, Scipio? Can you locate Brunus's belongings? You were flying them in by drone. They have been disposed of on the roof. What? I have information regarding the situation that may be of note. Brunish's luggage contained an illegal preparation of the Khemian plant Papoué to be vaporized in a pipe contraption. What? It was properly disposed of via incineration, and a report has been filed and sent to Amicus suggesting a 100-year prison sentence for Brunus. What? Nephew talks over the angry growls coming from the Wolverine. Why was it dropped on the roof, Com? To follow cargo loading protocol, all members of the Khemian envoy have had their personal belongings moved to the roof. Cargo loading? Cargo loading. We are not leaving until I get my damn pap. I would rather rip off my one arm than have to go through the stretch without my medicine. Just a moment. Does that mean the ship has arrived? I'm answered by someone I didn't even know is in the gardens with us. It's here! I know it's Vetrius, having heard his overexcitement before, but his normally reedy voice is especially high and harsh now. We all look around in confusion, and then... Holy shit, where'd you come from? The ship has entered the atmosphere. Vetrius's manic demeanor seems to disturb my two friends, which is understandable considering they've never seen him in such a state. It even surprises me a bit, but it's understandable considering this is the beginning of he and I seeing Khemian tech in person for the first time. How far away is the ship, Com? Arrival in approximately 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Scipio. I'm a bit distracted, trying to think of anything I need to do here on Adastra before I depart for at least several months, if not longer, if all goes well. I've already gone over my checklist, but I always feel I'm missing something. Vetrius is adamant on getting my attention though, leaping in front of me. Scipio, my boy. His voice has transitioned to a hoarse whisper. Remember this moment. Cherish this moment. He yanks me down to a kneeling position before grabbing my head rather roughly and tilting towards the sky. Behold, your first view of Khemian tech. Let it inspire you, Scipio. It's what Adastra can be. For some reason, as the ship arrives, I'm not fully struck by its significance. It descends in a quiet, controlled manner as the sun gleams off the metal, and I think at first that maybe they just sent a parental built one instead. It doesn't seem too different from Adastran ships gifted to us by the Romanus parents. It's a bit more smooth in its architecture, and it's definitely larger than any I'd seen before. But simply that, a different version of what I've seen in the past. However, as you wait on the roof, during takeoff preparations, I finally realize what I'm seeing. This isn't parental tech. It actually is Khemian tech. I'm not sure what I had been expecting. Likely something loud and powerful, like the Oromfan ships I've seen. But unlike the many Adastran ships that fly through the air above the capital, it was not simply gifted by the parents. It was built by the Khemians themselves. By engineers, they were not only knowledgeable in how to fix ship components when they wore out or malfunctioned, but also in how to actually build them. And when taking that into consideration, it is certainly impressive. More than that, it's almost inconceivable. I've known this to be the case since studying Khemian history and culture, but to not be able to tell the difference between their own technology and the parents is stunning. It even frightens me a bit as I climb aboard the sibling-built craft, as it appears more comfortable and perhaps even more stable than machinery built by the parents. The sense of awe and reverence comes to an abrupt end, however, as you board the ship and walk through the corridor, just when I happen to peer out the window. I'm looking out over the lake, a pleasant view before the palace. Well, before everything flies away. It happens so fast that I go from seeing the Imperial Gardens to seeing what I realize is the entirety of the moon over the course of a few seconds. The suddenness of it all, and the odd sensation of seeing such a movement, yet feeling none of it, makes my stomach turn. My body leans forward, balance teetering as if wanting to follow the window, and I force myself upright before the others might notice. Luckily, Amicus and Vetrius are looking out the window instead, seemingly unbothered by the sight. My sudden lurch gets the attention of who is behind me, though, and Nefru gently holds onto my elbow. Are you alright? There usually aren't windows on the few transport ships I've been in the past, but now that I can see, it's almost like when I would go sailing with my friends in the ocean, the terrible, all-consuming seasickness that came with it. I've never been seasick before, though maybe I just got used to it in the beginning, because they say, hey, you should take the, I can't remember what it's called. The anti-seasickness drug. But, yeah. Though, being in VR probably did help. Not while on the ship, though. Boy, that would be a whole thing. Using VR on a ship, and for reference of how, like, sometimes it would be completely calm, and then other times it's like, well, I feel like I'm in twice gravity and almost no gravity. This is all at once, though. Fine. I'm fine. You don't look fine. The big Wolverine sidles up next to Nefru, looking at me closely, which makes me draw back. And then the stars bend in the most queasy way imaginable, and I stumble to the side again. I feel my pulse begin to pound my ears, panicking in a way that I seem to be losing control of my body, at the same time fearing I might lose control of my stomach as well. You're most certainly not fine. Is this your first time in the stretch? Of course it is, Nef. The hell do you think? Nefru is moving away from the window, but I'm already looking away, horrified. Not by the stretch, but because of the feeling growing inside me. I'm gonna vomit in front of everyone. Somehow, Amicus and Vetrus have continued on the way, deep in conversation that I vaguely feel I should be listening into. But that will have to wait. I'm fine, just wondering where the lavatory might be. My voice is slightly louder than it should be. Though Amicus is deep, the resonant voice seems to cover it up, because I can hear him rumbling on as Nefru guides me down another corridor of the ship. We're moving rather fast. I can barely distinguish the stars. Of course, the Khemians developed a drive better than the one the parents lend us. How is this possible? Amicus echoes through my own thoughts that would be at the forefront of my mind if it not for the situation I'm in. Allow myself to be pushed along until I reach the door that opens automatically without any panels being touched. These are the living quarters. I'm not sure where you'll be bunking, but we'll be sharing the toilet. We move toward an even smaller door, one that does require the push of a panel. Considering the journey is only about 12 hours, it should be somewhat tolerable, I think. Do you need anti-nausea medication? Too late for that. They kick in within minutes. Still too late. Nefru makes as if to follow me into the lavatory. Probably wouldn't help like last time, but I held up a paw. I'm fine. Just... My stomach heaves, and I fear its contents are about to spew on Nefru. I'll be right back. I quickly move into the little room, leaving a perturbed Nefru behind as I furiously stab at the panel inside the lavatory until the door slides shut. I stand over the toilet for several seconds, vaguely thinking to myself that it's quite similar to the ones on Adastra. But this one has water coming out of it. I suppose that some things are universal in design, and then, and then that's my natural, and then what's in my stomach comes out. Ew. I'm in the lavatory for a little while, maybe about 10 minutes, partially to collect myself, but also mostly because I'm embarrassed and just hope Nefru has moved on for now. Still, at least I managed to not be sick in the corridor like my stomach wanted to be. I'm running my paws under the faucet, cleaning myself up before the stream of water suddenly stops and an unfamiliar voice rings in my head. Scipio? I yelp out loud. Apologies, power washing water limit has been reached. I stand there, staring at my own reflection in the mirror, deciding that what I heard came from within my head. But how? I began to panic slightly before realizing that, like with some parental tech I had integrated with, it must be from my lingua. So I respond, yes? Who is this? I get an immediate answer in turn. I am Ahem, the state-sponsored computer assistant of Khemia. Oh, yes, I know of you. I've studied... I chill off, remind myself that he's a computer, and it does not care about what I've studied, or about anything at all. You have studied me? The computer asks in a slightly curious tone, after a polite pause. This is very odd. It's odd that it's speaking directly into my lingua. Com never did that, and I doubt he can. But something else is even more strange about this computer that I'm trying to put my finger on. Yes, I did not expect you to speak through my lingua. It was a bit startling. I feel as if I would remember that bit of information if I came across in my studies. Apologies, Scipio. I was converted into lingua use only unless otherwise directed. This is to protect the privacy of all those who I'm speaking to. Would you prefer auditory communication instead? No, this is fine. Very well. I wonder the same thing that I wondered when I first saw the ship. The same thing Amicus questioned when we entered the stretch. How is this possible? Implies that the Khemians have learned how to access and manipulate the lingua directly. While it's impressive, it also rekindles a feeling of fear. What else might they be able to do if they can fully access the tiny piece of machinery embedded in my brain? Do you really know the extent of Khemian knowledge and power? I'm kind of wondering how this game will go. If it's finished, that is. You know? There's always an if. Is it really possible to do such things alone without parental help? As I'm contemplating this, Ahem fills the silence. Like a sapient, nosing alone the conversation. I can provide you with non-water methods to sanitize, if you wish. Unfortunately, our water reserves are limited. No, I'm fine. Thank you. You're welcome, Scipio, and it's a pleasure meeting you. You as well. I realize that what bothers me about him, aside from accessing my neurotech without my consent or knowledge. With Com, I never feel as if he is truly intelligent. I never feel as if he has thoughts or feelings of his own while he communicates. I might say Com is comparatively stupid, but he is simply a program that consumes information, analyzes, and then outputs sentences based on the information. This Khemian machine is something different, and I wonder how widespread it is on Khemia. The eerie feeling persists as I stare into the mirror, feeling that something isn't right, something about the Khemians. I banish the thought for now and adjust my robes, trying to keep my emotions under control. Now is not the time. I can discuss it with Vetris, or maybe even Amicus later. With that in mind, I look into the mirror one last time to assess the state in my facial fur before tapping on the panel and stepping out into the corridor. Oh! Why is he still here? It has to have been at least 15 minutes. Hello. I jumped just like Nephew, and now I quickly smoothed down my robe, and a gesture meant to cover up my reaction, but one that only makes it all the more obvious. Had he been trying to listen through the door? Either way, it puts me on guard. Hello. I paused, trying to think of something to say, but I can't think of anything, so I simply asked what would be the most normal in this situation. Did you need to use the lavatory? No, just checking to see if you're well. You look quite shaken up. As Nefru confirms the reason I thought he might be lingering here, I feel just a small flash of irritation. He's looking after me, which is kind and generous of him, as he has no obligation doing so. But it makes me feel childish, looking after me so closely. Perhaps even suspicious. I adjust my expression to appear more serious, but also calm. A cool, emotionless look. I'm fine, thank you, Nefru. Please don't worry so much. For my well-being, I do not wish to be the reason you are neglecting your own duties. Oh, I think I remember this where, what's his main characters, have to put on the Wolven facade or something like that. The look on Nefero's face is hard to describe. It's not a pleasant look, and it's enough to throw me off despite him not saying anything. Another moment of silence passes, and I begin to think over Khemian etiquette, wondering if I violated taboo of some kind. Of course, Nefru would be understanding of such things, but considering that we're not on Adastra anymore, perhaps he's less forgiving now. As I begin to open my own mouth to ask what the issue is, Nefru finally speaks. I see. Very well. I shall leave you to attend to your own matters then. Apologies for bruising your Wolven pride. Nefru turns on his heel, briskly walking away. I stand there alone hum on the ship's various moving parts. The only sound filling the heavy silence while I try to understand what just happened. I had acted within diplomatic norms. Really, any interaction among diplomats is normal as long as only words are used, specifically the right words. Present an aura of civility, even if your primal instincts are telling you to knock the other's teeth out. This is one of the main issues of Adastra. Is Dursus like that one guy that married a tiger? I don't know. Apparently, Wolven diplomats of the era routinely took swings at other siblings, and even amongst themselves, when they became angry or offended. Despite being over 10,000 years in the past, it's a reputation that still haunts us. I suppose it's not helpful that our experimental attempts at a republic have resulted in brawls within the Senate in the past year, just the past year. I'm sure footage of fights was shown gleefully across the news channels of other siblings, showing that we haven't changed, that there's something innately wrong with our culture or even our species. While I might admit that Wolven hubris has been the main hindrance throughout our history, I'm not going to allow myself to be treated as some sort of idiot savage. We have our own culture, our own language, our own universities. You witnessed it. We saw you bleed because of him, because he wishes to see you bleed even more. And I feel that despite my admiration for Khemia as a whole, they have their own issues with hubris. Nefru is a clear example of that. Wolven pride. The hackles along my shoulders begin to rise, and I work to contain myself. What an odd and frankly childish thing for him to say. I suppose it was insensitive of me to act in such a manner towards someone who so recently called me a friend, but his reaction was clearly hostile and hypocritical. I suspect that he has issues deeper than his facade will ever admit. But the unfamiliar anger in my mind dampens as I remember my duties. Not even 1 hour into my mission, and I'm already failing. I stand there for a while in silence, wavering as if on edge of a cliff before grinding my teeth and clenching my paws into fists. No, none of this. Either I'll succeed or I'll fail, but in both cases I'll continue on and serve the Empire, all for the greater good of Adastra. I'm not some Wolven bitch for Khemians to look down upon and shake their heads at. So, pushing through the hurt and embarrassment and blinking past the blur of the moisture in my eyes, I set off aimlessly, unsure of where to go, but just wanting to move. I'm sure they'll summon me through Ahem if I'm needed. As I walk quickly through the corridor, I happen to glance out of the windows, having forgotten about the nauseatingly bending light. I can read. And I feel my stomach lurch instantly. But I'm still feeling motivated by my sudden burst of furious confidence in myself, so I say in a low, stern voice, "No." I force myself to continue, looking while I walk, demanding my stomach to settle. Still, it doesn't appear that I have gained voluntary control over my mechanisms that dictate nausea in my body. Already irritated by my early failure, I force myself to continue staring and feeling that, in a way, this is punishment for being unable to handle simple, easy things that no one else has difficulty handling. It's similar to when I experienced insomnia when I was first away from home at university. It was so disturbingly satisfying to tell my own body that it only had itself to blame for being so tired during classes, and that maybe it should sleep next time. I do the same now, mentally sneering at my rolling stomach for being so weak that it can't handle the movement of light. Nefru's assurances that others have a weak mind like my own is difficult to believe now. Oh. He probably only says whatever he thinks I want. My meandering thoughts are brought to a sudden and rude end as my feet catch something on the floor and my paws fall out for something to grab. I yelp loudly as a few toe claws bend back before landing heavily on my side, my paw pads slapping the smooth, hard floor to keep from falling further. Rubbing at the left side of my hip, I look down my feet in confusion. 3 metallic crates stick out from a doorway into the corridor. Sorry, I think my throat's going all and my foot had caught the corner of the one sticking out furthest. Huh? There's a heavy grunt that I recognize immediately as Brunus sticks his head out from the doorway with a stern squint before looking down and seeing me. Skip, what the hell are you doing? I think now might be a good time because it's kind of a new scene and stuff like that. How I'm feeling about this game so far, it's like, yeah, it's good. I want to see more. But I am kind of feeling that thing where it's like, yeah, I thought it was, the reason why I did this was I thought it was going to be like new stuff, but it seems kind of pretty much the same as the one prior, you know? But I don't know. I thought it said somewhere, but maybe that's just me. So that's going to be the end of this side play. So please comment, cause I like comments, dimity like, dislike, tips, tricks otherwise. If you like my YouTube and like to see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the videos to help it grow. And please remember to spay your animals to help control the pet population. And if you want to play this game, it's available for free on itch.io. They also have Patreon. Ooh woo. Sorry, I pressed that button in my brain and then suddenly lost track of my thoughts because it is what it is. And until next time, another Sci-Fi, me, GamerWolfSix of Khemia. So thanks and see ya.